you've got Deanna Casey.
And Joe Casey.
And we are coming to you with an update for our Fall M class, which will be held Friday, September 27th, here at our Lufkin facility. And we've got lots of good topics coming up for this fall.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're going to start at 9:30. We should be done by 3:30. And we're going to talk about the PA-46 accidents that have happened in the last year. There's been entirely too many of them. There's been some fatals that have happened, way too many, and we're going to break down those accidents as part of our subject material that we're going to talk about. I hope you'll join us on September 27th or the 28th, rainout day, here in Lufkin, Texas.
We look forward to having you here.
All right, it's Joe Casey with Casey Aviation Services. You've never heard that before. Why? Because Casey Aviation Services is a brand new company. We are opening up a maintenance company, and man, I'm super excited about it. We've been wanting to do this for a long time to provide maintenance services to the PA-46 community and others, but really we're focusing on the PA-46 community, and I've got what is our brand new director of maintenance here. It's Kenneth Hale. Kenneth, thanks for joining us on the Malibu Guru Podcast, talking about Casey Aviation Services.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Big things coming, and it's going to be a big project, but we're excited for it.
I'm super excited. I will tell you, we've wanted to do this for ages, and in today's world, maintenance is just simply required. You're going to get an annual every year. And airplanes, as much as we don't want them to break, they're going to break. And when that happens, you need somebody to be able to turn the wrenches, make things right. And here you are. We're going to be able to do that, especially for the PA-46 world.
Right. And there's definitely a shortage of mechanics and facilities that I hear about another one closing every year. So it's exciting to be able to open one instead of see one close.
Hey, it's Eric, and I'm interrupting the podcast to let you know about a special deal. Joe wants to offer a special discount to our podcast listeners on the first 10 annual inspections, reducing the base rate from $8,000 to just $6,000. To schedule your inspection, a deposit of $15,000 is required, which will be credited to the total cost of inspection. Our expert team is ready to provide you top-notch maintenance, ensuring your PA-46 remains safe and reliable. Don't miss this exclusive offer. Call us today to schedule your inspection, and thank you for choosing Casey Aviation Services. Now back to the podcast.
That's right. In the PA-46 world, we've lost a couple of maintenance facilities that were servicing a lot of airplanes, and there's a gap. Bottom line, we called, and let me say another reason that we wanted to open this, why Deanna and I wanted to open up a maintenance facility. And that is because we help people buy and sell a lot of airplanes. And when we do, there's always a maintenance event. And it may not be an annual inspection, but there's going to be a pre-buy of some sort. And we would call up maintenance facilities trying to get a slot in those facilities. And sometimes it would take, they would say, we got an opening, but it's 4 months down the road or 5 months down the road. And that's just unacceptable when you're trying to make airplanes turn. And so now you're left with a position of, do you buy an airplane without having full visibility about that airplane? And no one wants to do that. You want to get a pre-buy done, a good pre-buy done. And so now we get to control some of that. In other words, we get to first look at our own maintenance facility, see if we've got holes, if we've got the ability to serve our clients. And we think that's going to help a bunch.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to bring the maintenance facility in-house to facilitate the purchase and selling of the aircraft. I mean, it's a great direction to go.
Yeah. Let's talk about you for a little bit. You're going to be the leader of Casey Aviation Services. You've got, how many years of experience do you have turning wrenches on PA-46s?
Well, if you count total, I really started whenever I was 16, helping my dad do oil changes on a Mirage. So, I guess that's kind of where I got my roots.
Yeah.
And, I guess my first official professional start into aviation was in 2016. So
we're looking at 8 years plus
right.
of PA-46 centric. And you came from a prominent shop right here in Texas. I think I can say it was First Line Aero with the leader Charles Crossman, who's been very good to us in the past. He's been very good to our community. He's a person that you learned upon to really gathered a lot of information from, and worked on airplanes under his tutelage. Would that be the right way to say it?
Yeah, I mean, Charles was definitely my mentor first and foremost. Definitely cut my teeth on PA-46s in the beginning in his shop. I mean, it was the second airplane that I worked on was a 85 Malibu. I believe that was, I can't remember whose airplane that was. All original. I think it was the one that came from Colorado.
Yeah.
The mint condition, all original Malibu.
I remember that Malibu. Matter of fact, Todd Robbie bought that Malibu, and it was a great. It was kind of a brownish color with the original. Yeah, beautiful airplane. It used to be a Part 135 Malibu. You don't hear that very often, but that was a good airplane.
Yeah. So that I started my career of professional maintenance on a Malibu, and I fell in love with the airframe, and I still work on them. So
yeah. And to be fair, you left Charles and First Line Aero to go work at another facility where we stumbled upon. We knew of you before this. We've always thought highly of you. And to be forthright, we would never want to open up a maintenance facility in competition to Charles on the same airport. And we just didn't feel good about that. And we weren't ready for it to, if all truth be known, we weren't ready to be able to do it. But you left that facility to go to another one. And we found you. It was like, hey, and immediately started talking, and immediately it progressed very nicely. We've now hired you to open up and run Casey Aviation Services. You're an A&P and IA with inspection authorization, so you can do everything that's required. We've hired another A&P IA. His name is Danny Redard. So we have today, as we open up today, we've got 2 A&P IAs ready to go. So there's going to be a lot of hiring that happens in the future. So I'm hoping that maybe some mechanics, some people that are turning wrenches out there in the world, hear this podcast, hear this YouTube presentation, and I hope they think, hey, I want to let these guys know, because we're going to be in the hiring mode very, very soon. And but we're starting with 2, and we're going to grow from that, grow internally, and go from there. So we're real excited about that potential.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the growing phase.
Yeah.
I love getting new team members on and getting to teach them about the airplanes, and it's always cool seeing somebody learn.
Yeah, one of the things that I talk with my team a lot about is culture, meaning that the culture within a company. In other words, I tell them all the time, thoroughbreds hang around thoroughbreds, and they don't want a donkey anywhere in the mix. And so we hire nothing but thoroughbreds. We think we got a thoroughbred with you. We got a thoroughbred with Danny. We got thoroughbreds within our company. And so one of the things about creating that culture is that when you inherit a culture, then it's challenging to change that culture to a better culture. But one of the things we get to do from the very beginning here is establish that culture with you and with Danny. Really, it comes down to you. I get to be a part of that culture as well. In other words, the people that are listening to this, if you've dealt with Casey Aviation in the past, the culture that you have experienced, which I hope is great communication, lots of bang for the buck, lots of, in other words, for what you pay, you get a lot of good service. You get good people to work with, great people to work with, and things delivered on time, great training, just a good experience where you're working with people that you want to work with because they're good people. That culture is what we're going to create with Casey Aviation Services as well, with you and with Danny. And really, it's going to rest upon you. I get to create part of the culture. Me and Deanna get to create part of the culture of Casey Aviation Services. But it really is this shop is going to be what you make it. And I think that you're going to have a barrel of fun doing that, because that's what more can you ask for, is the ability to create something that doesn't exist into something that you want. It's almost like you're Michelangelo, and you get to take a rock and carve it into something that you want it to look like.
Yeah. I mean, Danny and I both have been working on setting a culture where we're comfortable. And I've been a strong believer over the years that if the staff is comfortable and having a good time and enjoys what they're doing, it leads to a really safe product that's finished. Whenever you're pushing schedules or A bad atmosphere results in a bad product.
That's right.
In the end.
And at the end state, we want a great product. When people come to pick up their airplane from an annual inspection or a maintenance event, we want the airplane to be better than when it arrived. We want it to be.
Right.
So some things that are part of the culture that we're creating. Number one, we want to be able to, when you schedule an annual with Casey Aviation Services, that date's going to be a hard date. We're going to start that annual. If you get the airplane to us on time, we're going to start on time. And the goal is to have an airplane out within 2 weeks. Now, we can't control the 2 weeks. The reason why is because you're going to find problems with an airplane. And sometimes you create a problem or you don't create it. You find a problem that's existing that has to be replaced, and maybe parts don't show up in time, or maybe it's a big fix that needs to be, like you have to replace a cylinder on an airplane. Well, you're going to have to get the cylinder here and make things happen as far as that's concerned. But our goal is to shoot for 2 weeks, start on time. 2 weeks later, you get your airplane, notwithstanding problems that are discovered during that annual. Do you think you can do it?
Yeah, I think we can definitely, push the bounds of what we've been seeing, and I think 2 weeks is a totally reasonable number. I mean, a lot of the customers, our past customers, their aircraft are not just personal use, but it's business use too. So, I mean, every week the airplane's down, it's time lost. So not only can we afford to hold on to the airplane, but the customers can't afford to let us have the airplane for an extended period of time, especially an unknown extended period of time.
That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah, it's good. It's just real critical. And when they pick up the airplane, we want it to be right. One of the ways we're going to try to ensure that it's right is to test fly the airplane. We've got a lot of people here that can fly all the PA-46's variants, and we're going to be bringing more on to help with this. But the idea behind it is me or Deanna or somebody here is going to be able to fly this airplane post-annual and be able to say, yes, it's working. So when somebody comes to pick up their airplane, they've got the confidence that one of us flew the airplane with a maintenance person on board, so they can just make sure that the airplane's right. We think that's a critical part of the overall process.
Yeah, and I absolutely believe that post-maintenance test flights are incredibly important. I do not like, especially with families and everything else, I don't like returning a product out into the wild, if you will, before it's been looked at thoroughly. And a lot of problems you don't know until you're in the air. So having qualified people on board to diagnose and effectively fix, it's really good to post-test fly the airplane.
That's right. And the other thing that we're going to offer as a potential is for us to come pick up your airplane. So let's say you live, because not everybody, the airplane has to be brought to us, and there's a pain point in terms of the owner having the airplane, flying it to us. Now they've got an airline home, but we have some resources here. I own a Bonanza and a 182 that we're able to move people around. And so if it's within a reasonable distance, we'll fly our own airplane to come pick up your airplane. And if you're a longer distance, we're airline to come get your airplane. We have pilots that work for us that'll move airplanes around. And it'll cost you a little bit to do it, but we're going to make that cost reasonable. But the idea behind it is that now that pilot gets to take that airplane from you, wherever you live, and fly it here. Of course, when they're flying it here, they're looking at the airplane, writing down all the squawks. Matter of fact, I did this yesterday. I flew an airplane from up in Wisconsin back down to here. And I flew the airplane, reported all of the engine parameters, all the performance parameters, any squawks I may have discovered, and handed you an airplane where I knew some of the things that were wrong. That's valuable for the maintenance person to be able to get when they receive that airplane, to have a squawk list, a direction to begin to go look at some things.
Yeah, and I'm a total believer in no wasted trips. So if you're able to have the aircraft flown, pre-squawked, and delivered to the maintenance facility, and then not have to pay to have the aircraft flown again after it's been delivered, every hour counts. So
that's right. One of the biggest pain points is somebody coming to pick up their airplane from annual, and the airplane's not ready. Now they're sitting around, the airplane's got to be, it messes up your shop schedule. But if we know that beforehand, if we go do a test flight on the airplane after it, and then put the airplane there, and then we clean it, make it beautiful. Because, well, again, one of the things we want to do, we're going to clean every airplane after the annual inspection, make sure that when you get the airplane, it ought to look ready, mission ready, ready to go.
Yeah, it should look like the day you bought it.
That's exactly right. Our goal here at we've been in this business so long as far as the PA-46 world that we really want the customers to have a good experience when they come. Picking up a better airplane, having good interactions, solid communications. We know the pain points that we've experienced in the past, and we want to be able to solve that. Will we be perfect? And the answer is no. We're not going to be perfect. Will we strive for it? And the answer is yes. The culture that we're going to create is a good experience. Is going to net a good experience for our client.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely going to strive for as close to perfection as possible. Some things do slip through, but the recovery is equal to the work performed.
The recovery gives us a chance to shine because it's not perfect, but whenever you have a problem, it gives you a chance to show your ability to really jump in there and fix that problem. So I'm excited about having this service. Let's talk about the things we're doing here. For people that have come to our hangars before, we've got 2 hangars here at Lufkin, and we own other spots to build hangars here. Now we own 2 other spots to be able to build. But right now we're taking one of our hangars that we've got. We've totally gutted the hangar, put new skins on the outside, insulated everything on the inside, painted the inside, built shop space, built parts areas, built storage areas. We're building office areas. All this is happening. We've been working really hard for the last month and a half to ramp up to this. It's still not done, but it will be done by the time that we launch this podcast. We'll have everything totally ready. The bottom line is you're going to have some really good facilities to fix airplanes.
Yeah, it's going to look like a finished Casey Aviation product.
Yeah, the experience that people have with Casey, in other words, when you walk into our hangar, we've experienced this a lot before. When people walk into our hangar, you ought to see beautiful airplanes, everything neat, clean, orderly. It looks professional, and and because when it does, it is professional. And so when you drop your airplane off for service at Casey Aviation Services, you can leave with confidence knowing that your airplane's going to be handled well.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of cleanliness and image, so it's kind of nice that culture's already there. That's the direction we're going. So
yeah, one other aspect I wanted to talk with people about is insurance. We are definitely insured, and what was kind of fun about this is that when we went to the insurance market to shop insurance, the insurance market already knows us, and they already know we do a great job of training. We do a great job of helping people out, and we got some really good rates for insurance, and they were eager and excited about us entering into this space because I think they think we're going to do a good job.
Yeah, it's definitely good to be known by the insurance company in a positive light.
Yeah,
it's definitely a good end to have.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that happens in the maintenance world is and it's happened a bunch lately because maintenance facilities are so stretched, so pushed. You've got a labor problem that's going on out there. In other words, just not enough mechanics. And we're aggressively hiring people to come in and pay well and have a great place for them to be. So we think this is going to be a place that people want to work. But what's happening a lot of times in the maintenance world is somebody has an annual that's scheduled, and then they get a good call 2 weeks or a month prior to that, and they say, we can't fit you in. We're not going to do that, bottom line. What we're going to do is we're going to ask that a deposit be made whenever somebody schedules your airplane for the annual inspection, and that deposit holds your day. We're going to hold that day. If you book a date with us, we're holding to that date.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer that if 6 months out we tell you we can get you in on a certain day, that we should definitely have the space made. I shouldn't be able to fill your spot 3 weeks out if you've made the promise that you're going to be there. So
our goal as we do this, we're going to accept your deposit, but that deposit's going to hold the date. It's a little bit of a difference there. It helps us out with cash flow. It helps us out in terms of solidifying it. It also locks in your date. And that's what we want to be able to do. We want to make sure that date is held for you and your airplane. So that's one of the things that we're going to be real adamant about is that when we say we start, we start. and we're going to secure the date with a deposit. Another person we have here is Danny Redard with Casey Aviation Services. He's an A&P and with inspection authorization, and so an A&P-IA. Danny, welcome to Casey Aviation Services.
Thank you for having me. I'm enjoying this.
We are super happy to have you here.
Yes, I'm loving it. I love the opportunity. I think it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's a brand new ground floor operation, meaning there was nothing, and now we're going to have this company that's providing these PA-46 training opportunity, or not training, but maintenance opportunities. And you're going to be one of the head honchos we've got here. Right. And we're super excited to have you here. Tell me, how did you get into aviation maintenance?
Well, I started working at a flight museum, and I was sweeping the floors actually. And a guy there, he knew I had mechanical ability, and I started working on old T-38s, T-6s, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. And I fell into it, went to TSTI and got my A&P license there.
Good. So, it's so interesting how people get into either flying or get into maintenance by a ground floor opportunity. Here you are with sweeping the floors for a museum, a place that has airplanes, and all of a sudden you're in the ground floor. Pretty soon you're off to school and getting all your licenses.
Yep. I got my license, and then right the next day I was working on DC-10s, L-1011s, putting in fuel tanks for 6 months or so. I installed fuel tanks. Believe it or not, I was small enough then to get in the fuel tanks. And I did all kinds of things, galley repairs, you name it, we did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And tell me, your inspection authorization, how long were you an A&P when you finally became an A&P-IA?
Well, I just recently got my IA. I've been an A&P since the late 80s.
Good.
So,
just got your IA. Now you're about to get ready to put it to good service here at Casey Aviation Services. Your job here is going to be both a wrench turner, making things happen, and also a future leader in the sense that as we grow, there's basically you and Kenneth that are launching this. You're the ground floor opportunity here, and as the company grows, as we get other people, they're going to fall up under you. As we're going to have areas. What are you most excited about with Casey Aviation Services?
Oh, the potential. It's so much potential here.
One of the great things about the PA-46 community is so diverse. With one airframe, arguably, in other words, there are all morphisms of that airframe, but one effective airplane that we call a PA-46, but you have Continental, Lycoming, you have many variants of the PT-6 engine bolted on different, in other words, you have -21, -34, -35, and -42A that are mounted on just a gob of different airframes. So you do have one airframe, one manufacturer for this, but at the end of that one manufacturer, there's a lot of variants within there. So you really end up being a very broad mechanic trained in a lot of different variants. It really adds flavor for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for joining us here. We're glad to have you as a part of Casey Aviation Services. From the ground floor, Danny Redard. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
Lots of good things happening here at Casey Aviation Services, brand new maintenance facility led by none other than Kenneth and Danny. And we are super excited about booking your next annual, or whenever your airplane has a scheduled or unscheduled maintenance that comes along. I hope you'll give us a ring and let Kenneth and Danny be the ones that help you out. And we're going to advance this company quickly. We're going to be hiring very, 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 very soon. We're going to grow responsibly, and we're looking forward to serving the PA-46 community.